Hello guys and welcome to episode 9 of my Wrath of the Righteous playthrough. Last we left off, we basically awoke. No, that's not a word. Awoken. Woke up. Woked. One of those. We awoke in the headquarters slash pub. Oh, there's a little cat, look at it. And yeah, we basically got given a lot of side missions. One of them is we need to find Seela's friend Jaina or Jana Adori, who apparently went missing during the demon attack. So Irabeth would appreciate any information, so we need to figure out that one. We have to do it in this chapter, same goes for all of these missions, which makes sense. We have to gather allies for the Grey Garrison. How many people are there still alive in the city who can hold a weapon or cast a spell? Potential allies can be found in the most unlikely of places, so we need to keep an eye out for that sort of stuff. For this one, we need to find a secret entrance to the Grey Garrison, and we also need to speak to or find the storyteller, so we need to speak to Staunton. Scout out the Terror of Estrad. She prefers to confine her actions to scouting and information gathering for now, so we'll try and do that. What we'll do is we'll figure out where this place is, of course. We'll scout it out, and if it says go back and tell her, we will do that. Like she said, she's not looking for heroes, she's looking for information. So if we can figure that out, we'll do that. And then we need to speak to Horgus, who should be inside here. Let's have a look around. I know we've leveled up, but right now I don't want to do that. Hey, wait. Mind if I bend your ear about something? Anevia is outside your door, leaning casually against the shelf. Sure. So here's the first and most important thing. Beth gave you a crucial mission. I get that, and I know you'll get the job done. I saw you in action, but here's the rub. By sending you out on an errand, we're weakening our defenses here. If they come at us while you're gone, I don't know if we'll be able to fight them off. Okay. You want me to stay here and guard the tavern? You what? No. Your task is far more important. You can't just hole up here all cozy like, waiting for the demons to knock on the door. We need to take the fight to them. If those freaks try to make a move on this place, Beth will send a runner to get you. If that happens, you leg it back here, alright? Because if you don't, you'll be coming back to a pile of ash. Got it. Okay. So if somebody comes and says, get back right away, I'm going to do that. That's fine. Okay, what else do you wish to discuss? So the rift that damn beetle left with its scythe, yeah, well, it cut the city into two, and it's kind of difficult to get across. My scouts tell me there's a halfway decent place to set up a crossing in the market square. Not that any of them try to make sure, but if you've got a mind to go across, and I think you're going to have to eventually, you might want to give the square a once over. Okay, thanks for the warning, I'll see you later. Later, watch yourself out there. Cool. Okay, there's another quest. Let's speak to Staunton as he's right next to us. The dwarf resembles an abandoned citadel, one whose high crumbling walls are still holding fast, but whose empty lightless windows make it clear that all inside is dead. Jesus Christ. Oh, it's you. Good work back there in the Grey Garrison. Named Staunton Vane, or Van. If you've heard rumors about me, his face, which looks like it's never known anything as carefree as a smile, grimaces. Just so you know, everything people say about me is true. Okay, and what do people say about you? They say I'm a traitor, as bad as Arelu Volesh, that I'm a disgrace even among the ranks of the condemned, that Queen Galfrey should have never spared me, that I belong in the gallows. Okay, so who's this person? A few names arouse as much rage amongst crusaders as that of Arelu Volesh. The Sokorian witch who initiated the opening of the World Wound, and later its expansion. Almost nothing is known about her life before the atrocity, except that Volesh was condemned for using arcane magic, which was persecuted in Sarkoris, and imprisoned in the Tower of Threshold near the city of Iz. This is where Arelu Volesh conducted the ritual that paved the way for the demonic invasion and left her land to be tormented by the demon lord Descari. By some mysterious means, the witch transformed herself, changing from an ordinary human into a half-demon. Over the following century, Crusaders encountered Ali Volesh or the results of her experiments a few times, but they learned nothing more of Descari's henchman. He holds a high position in the ranks of the Army of the Abyss, and bears the title of Architect of the World. Fair enough, okay. And who is Queen Galfrey? Queen Galfrey is the absolute monarch of the Crusader state of Mendev and the leader of the Mendevian Crusades. While today the name of the Crusader Queen is known throughout the Inner Sea region, it's easy to forget that Galfrey did not start the rule of Mendev as a paladin of Iomedae, but rather of Araden. When the world wound opened and forever changed Mendev, Galfrey was still an untested young ruler who was forced to deal with the death of her god, while simultaneously rallying her nation against the abyssal threat to the west. She rose to the challenge, however, and her leadership was instrumental over the next several years, not only in protecting Mendev from demonic invasions, but also in holding the border against the world wound. When the Church of Iomedae organized the First Crusade, joined forces with Mendev to push back the demon armies. During these battles, Galfrey time and time distinguished herself with a keen grasp of tactics and skill at leadership, but this inspiration went both ways. In the Church of Iomedae, Galfrey found something to replace her lost faith. By the time the First Crusade ended with the apparent defeat of the demon armies, Galfrey had converted and become a worshipper of Iomedae, and completely retrained herself as one of the Inheritors' most devout paladins. Eager to retain such a valuable leader at the head of the Crusades, the Church of Iomedae twice purchased and presented to the Queen the rare and expensive Sun Orchid Elixir, which extends mortal life beyond its usual span. Oh, interesting. I need some of that in my life. Okay, why do they hate you so much? You really don't know? I'm the reason why the Crusade forces are holed up in fortresses on the edge of the world wound, instead of bringing the fight to the demons. We used to have a foothold in the wound. The mighty, unassailable city of Dresden. We used to have it until it fell, and all because of my stupidity. I gave the enemy our main citadel. I was tried. They wanted to execute me, and rightly so, but the Queen intervened. She said that I should live and fight in order to undo what I had done. That's how I live, decade after decade, fighting in the condemned. As you can see, I have fixed nothing and I have earned no one's forgiveness. Are you going to spit in my face too? It wouldn't surprise me. The condemned is a military unit made up of petty criminals conscripted as disposable soldiers and frontline fodder for the Mendevian Crusades. Oh, fair enough, okay. I'm just going to go with this straight option. I am a good person, so I hope you earn forgiveness. Thank you. From the depths of my soul, I thank you. I haven't had hope for a long, long time. The whole city fell because of you. How was that possible? What do you mean? How? If you don't trust the word of a condemned, go ask somebody else. Like my little brother Joran. And if you still don't believe it, what's it to me? If you're about to ask me to recount the story of my disgrace for the passage of time, don't. Alright. I'm sorry, I was just curious. So many years in the condemned, surely you have paid your penance by now. That's not up for me to decide. My life is in the Queen's hands. Condemned isn't the worst part. All these years I have prayed to Torag for forgiveness. Countless times I've gone to his priest. Countless times I've kneeled before his altar. If only the father of dwarven kind would answer my prayers just once. Not to restore what I've lost, but just to tell me that I am still one of his children. But it seems he doesn't give a damn about me. What can I expect from mere mortals when my own god doesn't think, I deserve redemption? If Torag has renounced you, perhaps you should turn to another deity. Theron Ray, for instance, teaches that everyone who repents sincerely should be forgiven. I don't think I should do that. It's not my place to tell him to follow another god. So I'll just carry on with this. I need to talk to the elf who calls himself the Storyteller. You know where I can find him. The storyteller? He strokes his beard and thought. The strange old fellow that once... Oh, sorry, that one. He used to sit with me for hours asking about all sorts of things. He never offered judgment or comfort, he just listened. At first I wanted him and his questions as far away from me as possible. Later I realized that talking to him did ease my burden a little. I hope he is alive and well. He's completely blind and feeble too. But if he's alone in the city, well, you probably know what that means. So I have a feeling the storyteller is something more than just a blind, feeble, old elf. Just from like what I know about him from the first game, and we'll probably find him again in this game. Probably going to be like some crazy like old dragon or something. I do know one place he might be. Look for him in the Blackwing. It's a library. Here, I'll show you where it is on the map. I don't know what use of a library is up to a blind elf, but he loved the place. He would sit there day and night. Okay. Thank you. Another place we need to go and visit, the Blackwing Library. Okay. Anybody else to speak to? Oh. There's a shop, Kayado. Wait, it shows two names? Oh, what? They're right next to each other. Okay. A stout old man with a fuzzy grey beard mumbles a prayer. He looks as tired as everyone else at the tavern, but determination is stamped upon his haggard face. What can I do for you? Who are you? Visali? I'm gonna say, I think that's how you pronounce that. Visali? Visalai maybe? Rathamus, rector of the local temple of Abaddon. The temple is gone though, and if we snooze here for much longer, the city will be lost as well. Who is that boy with you? This one, Kayado, the shepherd, my apprentice. He's a smart boy and his faith is strong. He serves Eristil though, but there's still something he can learn from an old servant of Abaddon. He'll be a great cleric when he gets a little older. So Eristil is known as the Old Deadeye and the Stag God. He is one of the oldest human gods still worshipped in the Inner Sea region and is concerned with family, farming, hunting and trade. During the Age of Creation, Eristil was among the gods who battled Rovagug when he sought to destroy Galarian, and who were eventually able to contain him in the dead vaults at the planet's core. His religion dates back to before the Age of Darkness, when small farming communities and hunter-gatherers prayed to him for bountiful harvests and successful hunts. Legend claims that it was Old Deadeye himself who created the first bow and gifted it to the humans to overcome the challenges of the world. Even as the accomplishments of civilization mount, Eristil continues to embrace and represent the simpler pleasures life has to offer. Okay. What kind of help can I expect from you? First, I sell scrolls. I have a lot of them, something for every emergency. Second, while you're here in the tavern, I can read one for you. Guaranteed, no surprises. But you'd better not go into the city without a cleric. I won't be going there myself, I'm too old. My powers are needed here. So does that mean we get to take this other guy? Show me the scrolls you were selling. Okay. Let's see what he has. A lot. Create pit. Mirror image. Spell magic at a point, I guess. Feeble body. Cure light wounds, serious wounds, and moderate wounds. Remove fear, remove curse, remove disease. Lesser extend magic rod. Okay, this rod grants his wielder the ability to make up to 3 spells they cast per day, extended as though using an extend spell feat. So this is actually useful. I used one of these in the actual Pathfinder game that I played in. I didn't use it much because it was like at the very end. But basically, if a spell has a reach of 25 feet, for example, if I use that spell with this rod, it basically doubles it. So, for example, for her, she uses, let's say, Acid Splash, and let's say the range is 30 feet. With this item, I can then use that and it will be doubled, so I could stay further back. So for touch spells, it'll be useful. So if I was to use it for her, who obviously has Cure Light Wounds as a spell. Using that rod alongside it would mean I wouldn't have to be right next to them to cast the spell. It would cast it at a range. I'm not saying that's the best spell to use it for, of course, not by any means, but just to give an example of what exactly it does. Unfortunately, it costs a shit ton of money, but at the same time, it might be worth it. I'm not saying I'm going to buy it now. I'm just like giving you an idea. Also, you can only use 3 spells per day, and they have to be of 3rd level or lower, which isn't exactly the worst thing. 3rd level or lower isn't that bad. But as you can see, it's a lesser extend, which means you'll find a greater extend, and I think there's an even better one. So, just to bear that in mind. We're probably going to use one of them at some point. He also sells Rings of Protection, which would be great to get. And now I know I have stuff to sell here, but we don't have too much money. Braces of the Wizard. The braces grant the wearer an armor bonus of +2, just as though they are wearing armor, and a +3 competence bonus in all knowledge arcana. So that would be good for me. But unfortunately, 6,000 gold at the moment is not very ideal for us. So he's got, sorry, Scrolls of Resist Fire, Electricity, Cold, Sonic, Acid. Scrolls of Arrow of Law, I don't even know what that does. You fire a shimmering arrow of pure order from your holy symbol at one target in range as a ranged touch attack. A chaotic creature struck by an arrow of law takes 1d8 points of damage per 2 caster levels, and the maximum will be 5d8. So with it being a caster level of 3, I'm assuming it'll be 2d8 damage. A chaotic outsider instead takes 1d6 points of damage per caster level with a maximum of 10d6, and is dazed for 1 round. A successful will save reduces the damage to half and negates the dazed effect. The spell deals only half damage to creatures that are neither chaotic nor lawful, and they are not dazed. The arrow has no effect of lawful creatures. So basically, if I'm going against something that is chaotic, it's good. And a chaotic outsider instead takes 1d6, but there is a maximum of 5d6 of damage, and they get dazed. So, you know, that could be useful, could be a useful spell. The problem is, at least for me personally, of course, I don't know what I'm going to be coming up against. So because of that, I don't really know, like, okay, it's hard for you to plan ahead. You know, it's always going to be good to have these spells at your disposal, you know. And obviously, as I level up, I'm sure I'm going to get some of these, maybe. I don't really know. And obviously, I believe there is the chance or the ability to create said scrolls at some point anyway. So I don't know how easy that would be to make them on the go. I'm sure we're going to find some of these spell scrolls no matter what as we're looting through the areas. But there's a lot, as you can see. Scroll of Fireball. Good old Fireball. Generates a searing explosion of flame that detonates with a low roar and deals 1d6 points of damage per caster level. So this does 5d6 damage, as it is a caster level of 5. If I had that myself and my caster level was 10, I would do 10d6. To every creature, and its successful reflex saves half the damage. Unfortunately, that hurts everybody, but at a distance, if possible, very, very good. Vampiric Touch, I don't even know what, like, half of these things I don't even know what they do. Thundering Drums. You strike the ground in front of you, filling the area in front of you with the thunder of pounding drums. Any creature in the area takes 1d6 points of sonic damage per caster level. Maximum of 5d8. So I think this does 5d8 damage. And is not prone. A successful fortitude save half the damage and negates being not prone. That could be a very good spell to use as well at some point. So we've got Communal, Protection from Sonic, Fire and Electricity, Scroll of Bane, Invisibility, Restoration, Guardian of Life. Expensive. As long as aware of this amulet is under the effect of the Death Ward spell, you gain a +2 morale bonus to AC against attacks of undead creatures. If they use any single target cure wounds spell on a target whose current HP is 0 or less, The target is healed for an additional number of HP equal to that number. Okay. So this is actually a pretty decent necklace. But you have to make sure you are under the... So for the second part with the Cure Wounds spell, I'm not sure if I need to be under the effect of the Death Ward spell to get that ability, basically, or if that is just a separate one. Maybe the Death Ward one is only for the AC. This gives a cold resistance of 10 if the wearer has the implant or the ice plant hex. It also grants them a +2 natural armor to AC. So we didn't get the ice plant hex. I can't even remember what one we ended up getting. Scroll of Aligned Weapons, Holy Blights, Alchemist Kit. What the hell do these do? This kit allows the creation of level 1 spells. This one allows the creation of spells up to 2. Let's grab this. Oh, this is probably what we need. Level 1 scrolls. The rest are very expensive. So we'll just get the first level of each for the time being. And then there's all of these ingredients that are going to be used for creating potions. He sells first aid kits. This rod grants his wielder the ability to make up to 3 spells they cast per day piercing as though using the piercing spell. And basically what that does is when you cast a piercing spell against a target with spell resistance, it treats the spell resistance of the target as 5 lower. Okay, that's pretty cool. Scroll of Burning Hands, Enlarged Person, Grease, all of the typical spells here. There's a lot. I'm just scrolling through real quick. I know I can search. Summon Elementals. Wand of Ray of Frost. This has 35 charges. It basically just gives the cantrip, Ray of Frost. Not really worth grabbing in my opinion. All of these scrolls, there's so many. Deterioration, Dragon's Breath, Gold, Brass, Blue Dragon, E-Shape 3, Polymorph, Wand of Reduced Person. Holy shit, this guy has literally like, this is so overwhelming. It's like, how would you know what to take here? At least right now. Wand of Enlarged Person, Shocking Grasp, which I believe is that the cantrip? No, it's not. Your successful melee touch attacks deal 1d6 points of electric damage per caster level. And the caster level is 1. So I guess it's a first level spell. Remove Curse. Cloud Kill. Scroll of Dragonkind. Oh my lord. Wand of Stone Fist, a Molten Orb. You create a fist-sized red-hot ball of molten metal that you immediately hurl as a splash weapon. A direct heal deals 2d6 of fire damage. Every creature within 5 feet of where the ball hits takes 1d6 from the splash, and there's a reflex save for half of the damage. Each of these creatures takes an additional 1d6 of fire damage per round for the next 1d3 rounds. That's very good. That might be worth grabbing at some point. But what I actually wanted to search for, which I might have gone past, would be Restoration. So 3 scrolls of Restoration. Okay, I didn't mean to take that. It also dispels temporary negative levels or 1 permanent negative level. So as far as I'm concerned, using this spell would get rid of that dexterity stuff that I had. So it might be worth me grabbing these. 2100. Let's sell all of this random shit we ended up picking up that we don't need. And then see what money we're at that point. We're getting a bit of cash. No accessories, ingredients, of course. We want to keep all potions. We've got a bunch of cure light wounds, which is great. I hope that my healing add-on doesn't automatically use them. Notable. I mean, we've read these, right? Just want to double click through them. We're still quite heavy, but that might just be because it's my character and I don't have anybody else in my party at the moment. I believe that's it. Okay, let's deal. So we now have 7,000 gold. Let's see. Let's just type in 1 and see what shows up. So we've got the Wand of Molten Orb, which is a lot. Reduce person, enlarge person, shocking grasp, stone fist. Transforms your hands into a living weapon. Okay, nobody's using unarmed attacks. I kind of want this. It has 50 charges. And I feel like it could be really good. But I'm also kind of leaning towards just saving what I have at the moment. But I will grab these. I'm going to grab these no matter what. Even though we might not actually need to use them, we might be able to rest and stuff like that just to get rid. I kind of want to just grab them anyway. I don't think there's any harming in doing so. I'm not entirely sure how we do make scrolls. I think we'll figure that out as we go. I think we need to be resting to do that, I believe, anyway. Let's speak to Kayado. I believe that help is already on the way. The queen will not let us die. Probably will. But let's speak to Lan. Hang on, let me just drink some of my tea. Real quick. Bear with me. Here for a chat. I've been waiting for you to come and see what strange beast you've taken into your party. What do you think of life on the surface? It must be very different from life underground. Of course, as far as living conditions, the surface is definitely a better place to be. It's easy to get good food and water, not to mention build a house, and even grow a few things. In older, well-established settlements, you don't have to deal with anything scarier than rats or maybe foxes stealing chickens. As for the kind of lives you have, I heard a story about a demon worshippers abducting a whole family and sacrificing them one by one while the others watched. But there were some brave Crusader knights nearby and they killed the villains and saved everybody. Okay. I heard another story. A young blacksmith lost his arm in a fire, couldn't work to feed his wife and baby. They tried their best and lived from hand to mouth, but they were still destitute. In the end, the desperate blacksmith robbed a traveler one night on the road. But there were some brave Crusader knights nearby and they caught the robber and threw him in prison. Not long after, his wife smothered that baby and hanged herself. Jesus! Well, that story went from bad to worse. Jesus, okay. Up here, the same person can proudly say he's protecting the innocent from demons, and then look the other way while the same innocent starves just because they were born into a poor family. Queen Galfrey prolongs her life with sun orchid elixirs that cost enough to feed an entire city. Back in our caves, everybody is equally poor, and if one person starves, the whole tribe starves. We don't abandon our own in times of trouble. That's the power of a tribe. The laws of the surface are made so that some can get everything and others get nothing. I might just be a naive fool from the caves, but I don't understand how it's possible to have so much more and share so much less. Well, I could say a lot about that, let's be honest. Anyway, look who I'm talking to. You must know life on the surface much better than I do. I'd never leave a needy person in trouble. I've been given more than most, which means I'm now more able to help others. A fitting reply. Don't take my words as a reproach. I like grumbling as much as cracking jokes. Lan is obviously trying to muster a friendly smile, but it's an expression his face doesn't accompany. I can't even speak. Accommodate very naturally. Okay. There's more we can see. Let me guess, your first question is, can you wear a hat with your one horn, am I right? I mean, can you? Sure I can, but certain desires don't suit me well. He speaks in a deadly serious voice. You speak common much better than the rest of your tribe. Funnily enough, common isn't all that common underground. But your observation is correct. I used to live on the surface with my parents for a while, and had a chance to learn a couple of things. The language, and the fact that every peasant who sees my scaly mug screams demon and runs away. I don't know if you're interested, but my mum wasn't from an underground tribe. She was a smuggler. The kind that used the dungeons of Carnaborous to secretly move and store goods. One time, two gangs couldn't agree on how to share a prime cut, got into a fight, and the winners threw the losers down a hole, dead and living alike. My dad went to check if the corpses had something useful on them, and he found a girl from the surface, barely clinging to life. An incredible feeling sparked between them. Or maybe the girl just liked men with scales and a cat nose. That might be it. One way or another, he got her back on her feet, and he later even left his home caves. He left her smuggling behind, and they began an honest life together. That's a delightful story of how old Lang came into this world. The next chapter, however, my family and I never stayed in one place for long. We lived sometimes on the surface, sometimes underground. I couldn't find a place to call home. Living in the caves were hard on my mum, and my dad's appearance raised too many questions in Mendev. We were at war against the demons after all. In the end, my parents decided to stop making each other miserable and separated. My father and I returned to our tribe. I think the peasant screaming demon had something to do with it. Or maybe dad just couldn't stand a life without rat tail soup. I wouldn't rule out that possibility. That's sad. I wonder if his mum's still alive and if we can find her. Did you come with me so you could get to see the surface again? No, that wasn't it. I just don't have much patience for certain types of creatures. Demons, I mean. If they want to destroy Carnaborous, I'll be on the side of the people that are attacking. Lan, you are my companion, and companions should trust each other. I'm counting on you to give me an honest answer, not excuses. He looks ashamed. I guess you were right. I shouldn't have been so evasive. It's just that some things are hard to talk about, like family, for example. My birth, hell, take me, turned out to be a great misfortune for my parents, all because I'm relatively healthy. I'm the best thing that could come from a marriage between a cave-dwelling mongrel and anyone from the surface. A healthy child with the right number of hands and feet, no apparent defects, no missing organs or other problems. They saw hope in me, so risked having more children. They thought it would somehow be alright. I could have had 4 brothers. The first was born 2 years after me, and died 3 years later. He didn't have a nose, nothing even remotely resembling one. He could only breathe through his mouth. Mum and Dad were afraid to take their eyes off of him, for fear he'd choke and suffocate on something. But in the end, it was his weak heart that killed him. Then there was another pregnancy, and birth. I pretended I was sleeping, but snuck out of my bedroom and listened under the door. All those hours, it was very strange. I never heard the newborn screaming. Mum moaning, yes. The priest praying. When I dared to open the door a little and looked inside. The priestess stood there very pale. One of them was holding something, a small object that fit in his palm. He asked, "Do you know what this is?" And the other said, "I think it's a head." Oh, Jesus Christ, bro. What the fuck? Please go on. It turned out that this time Mum was expecting triplets. The first of the babies was born in pieces, and the other 2 didn't live long enough to draw their first breath. About 3 weeks later, my father took me to the caves. He didn't want to leave. I could see it in his face. I think my mum and he decided it together. The curse my people had carried since the first crusade stood between them, not to mention the 4 dead babies. And old age was rapidly taking its toll on my father. After we returned to the cave, we only lived for another 4 years. So if you're asking me why I decided to go up with you to the surface and join the Crusaders, well, the answer is, I've always wanted to. I was afraid to leave my tribe, but it's always haunted me that I'd die in a world where 4 crusades I'd die in a world where 4 crusades could do nothing to stop the beast from the abyss, and the number of victims kept growing. I want to change that, or at least try to. And if changing things is too much to ask, then at least get a little revenge. The ones who are behind the world wound owe me a great debt. The lives of 4 brothers, all my mother's tears, my father's broken heart. It's a lot. It's so much that killing a couple of demons won't do it for me. I want to do something real, and I'm ready to pay any price. Call it my personal crusade if you like. I used to think that things would be better if I'd never been born, but now I think I was born for this, to settle the score. Damn, man. I'm about to get emotional. Your parents' love didn't survive hardship, but that doesn't mean the same thing will happen to you. What if you find true love, somebody who won't leave you no matter what? And break my beloved's heart when I die in her arms 5 years later? That's a fine thing to do for the person you love. Then again, there's a chance I'll inspire some tragic bard to write a tearful ballad. Would you like to find your mother? No. The word flies from Lan's mouth faster than an arrow. Then, after a pause, he continues. I don't want to meet her. Not because I feel any resentment, it's just that she's a half-elf. She's barely got her first grey hair, and I'll be a ramshackle old man. She's buried enough children. There's no need to make her witness the death of another one. I hope you understand. And then I'm very cruelly sorry. I need to sneeze. Jesus Christ. Lance smiles, this time sadly. Well then, I'm very lucky. I met someone who not only helped me choose the right path, but is happy to listen to me whining. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for listening. Jesus, man. I was not expecting that deep of a story from one of my companions. I'm gonna be entirely honest. That's terrible. Mongrels have short lifespans, but you don't look like you're getting old or dying. How old are you? I'm as old as I look. No surprises there. But remember Sol? He's 10 years older than me. I remember him back when he was a fearless warrior. And day by day I watched him turn into an old man. Him and my father. It happens very quickly. First you miss a shot because you don't see the target as clearly as you used to. You think it's because your eyes are tired. You tell yourself it will get better tomorrow. Then you notice you're having trouble breathing, that climbing is harder than before. Your fingers stop bending, you have to tie your sword to your hand. You can't even get on your greaves without help. Excuse me. When you're washing your face in a stream, sometimes you catch sight of a grey hair. Wrinkled old man you don't recognize. And this goes on until one day, you come across a cave beast and you realize you can't outrun it. My dad kept diaries, marking all the signs, and I saw it too. The last year I had to help him get out of bed, help him dress, remind him to eat. Sometimes he forgot my name. I told him that we should have stayed on the surface, and he joked that dodging a goddess was behavior unworthy of a crusader. He meant Pharasma. Every morning I wake up and check how I feel, but there are no signs yet. Even so, I know I don't have much time. I need to do something useful before I forget why I came here. So it seems like these mongrels, I guess half-breeds, I don't even know what you would technically call them, have very short lifespans. Okay, let's talk about Wenderwag. Are you sure? Alright. No, let's leave that for the time being. You can ask them about that at some other point. You said you were prepared to risk your life to do something meaningful. What exactly did you mean? To invent a new salad and have it named after me? He remarks grimly and sighs. Truth be told, I don't know. It would be much easier if all I really wanted was to kill demons, then a few more demons, then more demons after that. Good honest rage and no needless brooding. I think I actually envy the warriors who can live like that. But I can't. If life's taught me anything, it's that there are no easy choices. Dying a glorious death isn't enough. Some heroes of the Crusades did that and also saved entire settlements, erected the wardstones. Their actions kept the hands of Meddeath safe for decades. That's what I want. For my fun, short life. Oh, sorry, not fun. For my dumb, short life to have meant something. You think I have an exaggerated opinion of myself? some scaly freak crawls out of the caves and wants to take control of the ward stones and flaunt Iomede's banner. Any fool who can charge at the front lines of the demonic armies and die there. But what good would that do? I want something meaningful, you know? Even if I have to pay the highest price, especially if I have to pay it. There are plenty of worthier people who need to survive this war and tell everybody else the nutcases we are. Okay. Wow. That was a long conversation, and we barely spoke to anybody in it. We spoke to like 3 people. And we're already at the 40-minute mark. Okay, let's speak to a couple more. Oh, God. Ilor. A tall, athletic man greets you. His hair is prematurely grey and shorn close to his head in a military style. He is lean and well-groomed, and a monocle twinkles coldly in his eye. The bold set of his jaw and his large but agile frame attest that there is a man who is always ready to be on the move. Greetings. I am Hilor, Venture Captain of the Pathfinder Society. I am the superior officer among the Pathfinders in this region of Mendev. However, the Society is running almost no operations here right now. Beside me, there are almost no Pathfinders here. Actually, I'm only stuck here because of an old feud with a demon worshipper known as the Spinner of Nightmares. I've had to work alone, without the support of the Society. I've made a lot of acquaintances among the local mercenaries and daring fighters. If you need any good fighters for an honest cause, talk to me. So basically, this guy, there was one in the first game who was a Pathfinder as well, and basically this is where I can recruit allies or party members, you know, people that can help me. Okay, tell me about your confrontation with the Spinner of Nightmares. It all began with a task of the Pathfinder Society. I arrived in, whatever this word is, Nerosian? With my team to investigate the sudden death of a famous crusader, Baron of Failron. We soon focused in on the small hospital for the wealthy, where Failron was being treated shortly before his death. It turned out that a gang of Baphomet's cultists, calling themselves the Labyrinth of Mind, had gotten a foothold in the hospital. They were obsessed with twisting the minds of their victims and targeted fragile people too weak to resist. The hospital was filled with perfect victims, isolated for weeks from the outside world, completely helpless. And when they returned, they were different, almost normal. But the moment they heard a certain phrase, something dark awoke in their mind, and they transformed into servants of Baphomet, ready to lie, betray, and even kill. The Labyrinth of Mind was preparing to infiltrate all the elite circles of Mendev, but Baron Failron stopped them. He was too loyal to his oath, and too resistant to their spells. He fought for his freedom until the strain broke his heart. We opened and cleaned the city of Baphomet's pit of vipers. That den was a cradle of sin and filth. They cast spells on each other, and the loathsome fantasies stepped real from their minds into the world. They dreamt of horrible and forbidden things, and they fought like mad. We burned the place to the ground and slaughtered everybody we could, but the leaders of the cult were able to flee, and they were set upon revenge. They abducted my daughter Lowry, who served under my command in the Pathfinder Society. They left me a note full of tart insult, mockery, and sneers. From that note, I learned the name of my enemy, the Spinner of Nightmares. A few months later, I confirmed that she was the leader of the Labyrinth of Mind. My hunt had begun. I would get Lowry back at any cost. Okay, well, did you get her? Okay, that's fine. Okay. Very, very interesting. The book here. Hilor and the Spinner of Nightmares. Oh, hang on. Okay, this is like it's a book. So this is basically more of a story version of what he just told me. First, book the first of the astonishing. Okay, I want to take this with me. I'm not going to read it just yet, but if we end up finding more, we can read through them. Oh, there's so much, there's so much dialogue. Oh my god. Okay, I think I might actually end here. And unfortunately, question mark, I think the next episode is going to be a lot more talking. I want to be able to get as much lore and conversation out as possible. I hope those of you who are watching don't really mind that. Of course, you might not just be here for the gameplay itself, but actually the story and the characters, which is why I play, you know, these sort of games, of course. But we are at 45 minutes and all we've done is spoke to 3 people or 4 people. So next episode we'll speak to Sela, Irabeth, and then we'll go around the rest of the bar and see if there's anybody else to talk and go from there. So thank you all for watching. I appreciate it. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.